So sometimes I sound like this, and sometimes I sound like this. I think most of you guys, if you've known me for my internet career, have heard me speaking like this. And just recently, I have started talking like this on the internet, and you're probably like, Sarah, what the hell is going on? And today, I'm gonna clear all of that up for you. I'm also like, first of all, super nervous. I have like low-key stage fright because there is like a billion of you here, and I have not really made YouTube videos before, and all this space on the side is like super intimidating. But we're gonna just do this, and because I just need to talk about this. And I hope that this helps some of y'all who are also immigrants like me, because it is a super confusing place to be in. Anyways, I'm Sarah, and thank you for watching. Get a snack. This is gonna be a long one. It'll be a low-key therapy session for me. Sorry if I cry. Sorry if this is confusing. Okay. So let's take it back to 2001, Pune, Maharashtra, India, and that is where I'm from. I actually was born in my own house because I lived on top of a hospital. Makes no sense, but I'll explain in some other video. I actually lived in a super full house. So like my uncle, my aunt, my grandparents, all the patients in the fucking hospital. In India, I actually went to an English medium school. This is kind of common if you're an Indian, you know. It's essentially that you learn most of your subjects in school in English. So basically my parents said that, okay, if she's learning English in school, we don't have to really teach her English at home. We should just speak in Marathi, which is my mother tongue. And that's what I speak in at home as well. This is really ironic because we ended up moving to the UK 10 years later, and that was a really bad decision because I only knew like English in the sense of how you'll know German or French in the UK. Maybe I knew 10% more than that. I should check with my mom. I think it's 2011 or 2012, but that is when we moved to the UK. I actually originally thought that we were coming here for a holiday. That's how I was told. And then I was suddenly enrolled in a Christian school with my sister, and I was like, hold on a minute. This is weird. Suddenly, in under 6 months, I've gone from living in a full big house to just me, my sister, and my mom in a country where I can barely speak the language and I have no friends there. Literally, this was the first time I saw white people and I was starstruck. No joke. I literally thought white people were only in movies. It was insane. First year in school was actually just like super silent for me because obviously I was just so nervous to speak because that is the first time I realized that I sound different and I look different. The place I come from in India, in Pune, I'm sure there's white people that live there now, but it's predominantly just brown people. Different shades of brown, but Indians, you know? That's the first time I started looking at myself being like, oh shit, I'm actually super different. I felt like an alien. I don't speak the language, I don't have the accent, I look very different, I suddenly have a mustache, my legs are hairy, and all the girls are blonde. But everybody was actually really nice in my school about it. Me shout out to Mr. Campbell, our head teacher. He actually taught me how to use a fork and a knife, and that was like so nice. Although everybody was nice, I still felt pretty lonely. Thing is, my parents always said, we'll go back to India in like 6 months. They never told me this is an indefinite stay. It was always like, oh, well, let's see, like maybe next year we'll go back, in 6 months we'll go back. I was still enrolled in my old school in India. So I never really had like, I think internally it wasn't like, okay, this is now a permanent change. I have to change how I speak. Because at home, I would speak in my normal accent in Marathi and English. And then when I'd go outside, I would speak like this because I'm imitating all of the people around outside me to fit in. I think this term is called code switching, but I'm really not sure. It was actually like easier to talk to people around me because they understood me more. I could be more relatable. I think when I got to secondary school, that's when things started getting a little bit difficult. I became super aware of the fact that I look different. You know, like beauty standards were so different now. I also became super aware of the fact that I sound different. This was very obvious to me that I sound like this at home. And then when I go outside, I speak like this because it's more acceptable. This mask started developing around my British accent. So rather than these things being two different accents, they became two different identities almost. So how I would behave in my Indian accent is just me. It's who I've always been. But then in my British accent, I would sort of just act exactly how everybody else would or how they would expect me to act. You know, I knew that I was a very different person as soon as I stepped outside of the house. So I became very disassociated with my identity. I became a major people pleaser in my British accent because I was just trying to fit in. We all try to fit in, regardless of whether you're an immigrant or not. I felt so disassociated from who I was. I remember coming home from school feeling so drained because I had been pretending to be somebody. Obviously, people in school would be like, this doesn't seem like a genuine person. Not that I was being fake. It was hard to be myself, you know? Because I wasn't, oh my God, this is like actually therapy. Came across as fake, I think, because I was being a people pleaser, because I didn't really know how to be myself, because me came with this accent and my language. When I would speak like this, I was very aware of my facial expressions, the way I would use my hands, the way I'd hold myself, the way I would interact with people around me. But in my Indian accent, I didn't have any of that. I was just kind of existing. I still made really, really good friends. Like, one thing I think I was really blessed with is that people could see through the fact that I was having a bit of an identity crisis, and people were really nice in my school. You know, obviously, teenagers are teenagers and we will have our issues. But I think the friends I made have always understood that, okay, she's a bit weird, but it's okay. Weirdly, because I think I disassociated from these two accents, and both of them are so strong and both of them are such individual identities. They never like mix. Like, I have a separate accent situation. Like, I sound like this or I sound like this. There is no in between. What I always thought was really funny, friends I had made in the UK, they would like come home. I would start speaking in my Indian accent with my family, and they would like, Sarah, you should just speak like this to us. Like, I can see more of you. I think about that in hindsight. I'm like, oh my God, actual sweetheart. I was not confident in myself to do that, and I think I was really scared. And this weird thing started happening to me about 3, 4, 5 years since I'd come to the UK, where I would go back home to India. I just wouldn't feel like I fit in there. And then I'd come here and I wouldn't feel like I fit in here. Like, I wasn't Indian enough, but then I wasn't British enough to be here. I started feeling like an alien everywhere. Only people I could relate to was my family. Any friends I'd made, I'd keep them at an arm's length without me even realizing, because nobody else would understand. And when I was around 15 years old, that is when me and Avni started posting videos online. Obviously, things ended up snowballing and we blew up, and it was crazy. Thank you for that. It's been like 7 years. You've changed my life. Always speak in my British accent online, obviously, because it's outside. It was a whole persona that I'd created. Myself on the internet, myself in school. But then school finished and I started going to university, and all of a sudden my context was different. It was kind of a fresh start, and it was a choice to me of how I present myself now, because I was like, oh my God, I can talk in my Indian accent if I need to. Nobody knows me yet. But then I went to university and people knew me, because obviously I'd been posting online and I had just not registered that. So then I had to keep up a persona. So I felt stuck in this character I'd created. I kept doing it for like a whole year until it was a huge loss in my family, and it was a big one. It kind of just shattered my reality. Anybody of you has like felt a big loss in your life? It makes you question everything. I realized that I needed to be as authentic as possible and live my life for me, not for other people. And so I said, you know what? I want to do this job full time. And I don't want to go to university right now, so I dropped out. Then I told my best friend at the time, Lewis, that I have a huge crush on him. And then we started dating. You know, he said to me, he was like, Sarah, I want you to just talk you feel comfortable in. And if that's in a British accent, that's in a British accent. But I want you to feel at home with me. And it made me think, I was like, oh my God, if I end up being with someone forever, am I going to speak in my British accent to them? Gonna have this mask on forever, and am I gonna have this mask on in front of my kids? It made no sense. What's really cool about Lewis is that he celebrates my culture and he really appreciates me as like a full person, and he was like, I want to hear you speak like how you want to speak. And my sister actually started speaking to him in an Indian accent, and I was like, now this is just ridiculous. So I slowly started speaking to him my original accent, and he then said that he got to know me more than he ever has, and I've known him for like 5 years before this. I started speaking to him like that. I started speaking to my other friends Indian accent. Then it just started making no sense speaking a British accent online, because I was like, I don't have a university to go to. I have nobody to answer to. I don't have to put a mask on for anybody in my life. So why am I doing that in a place which is supposed to be my safe space to feel some identity and character, when I felt characterless in school because I had to put a mask on everywhere, and this gave me my identity. Here I am pretending it makes no sense. And so I just don't want to pretend anymore. And I want to know you guys in my real Tara identity. So here I am. It's really nice to meet you guys like this, not like that. Thank you for being on this journey with me, because it's been a long one. I'm sure I've missed out so many points. So if you have any questions, please comment them below. Thanks for listening. It was weirdly so hard. I've been trying to make this video for like a whole month. Love you, and I'll make less serious videos than this. But thank you for hearing me out. Okay. I love you. Bye.